going on, buddy?
How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. You know, it's Friday night. I'm in my basement. I'm hiding from the wife and kids. I'm drinking Appletinis, and I'm talking to you on another Appletinis, the podcast. What's going on?
We're tearing it up, man. We're
I
making
know.
a habit of this. I like it.
Anytime you make a habit out of anything, it actually, eventually, you see dividends. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we go from 5s of listeners to 10s of listeners soon.
Well, I think we did. I think didn't you say that the episode with Francesca was our biggest episode yet?
Was fantastic, yeah. And the momentum from there, I mean, it's just going to springboard us right into tens of followers
right into tens.
And listeners. I love it. I got my Appletini here. What's going on tonight? Yes, dude, what?
This was a long week, man. So I'm happy it's Friday. You guys listened to us on Monday, but it was Friday when we were recording this. Mm-hmm. Grabbing a drink here at the end of the day. It's about 6:00 here on Friday. Pre-Super Bowl weekend.
I know it. I know who you got in the Super Bowl.
I don't know. I really don't care.
You don't care?
What I got is the Deadpool 3 trailer. That's all I'm caring about.
I can't wait to see that either. I want to see the Deadpool 3 trailer, but I also want to see the commercials. I always enjoy the commercials. But the problem is nowadays, Dan, they release them before, so you see them all online prior. I mean, just like.
But I don't watch them. I skip it. I try to keep them for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So, and also one of my friends is actor out in L.A., Alan Heights. He's got one, so I'm going to be looking for him. And of course, I'm going to be looking for other friends of ours who just have kept it quiet up to this point. Right. I guarantee we'll see more people that we know, including a guy by the name of Shraven.
Shraven, yeah, he popped up on the one of the CBS football commercials. Came in a full football uniform. It's great. I had to tell everybody, rewind that.
So today on the show, Dan, we got a cool guest, and we need to get there. So
we do.
We need to get over to that side of the show.
Let's play the theme song.
Appletinis with Ken. Appletinis with Ken. Oh yeah. Appletinis with Ken. Oh. Appletinis with Ken. Oh yeah. Oh. Appletinis with Ken. Appletinis with Ken. Oh yeah.
That was a little bit of a rough opening there. That was one of our clunkiest.
I know. It was like we were tripping over everything, but I kind of enjoyed it. We were sitting around like drinking heavily because we had technical issues.
We did have technical issues.
Leading up to.
But it's okay. We got there.
It's okay. We got those issues fixed, and now we're recording. Like I said, Dan, what are you drinking, man? I got the Appletini. What do you got?
I'm back. I'm still in my bourbon lane here, but this one's a special bourbon. This is the bourbon's not special, but the drink is. It's I add a little shot of Grand Marnier to it, and that's in honor of our buddy Rasik Ohal, who we lost today 5 years ago. So big, much loved guy here in the DMV and up in New York, where he moved from here to there, and just that was one of those surprising losses that just rippled through all these communities he was part of. So we miss him a lot. We love him, and he's still part of pretty much everything we do in some capacity or another. And it's always good to remember him.
Yeah, so, he's one of the great ones, man. He really was.
So cheers to Rasik.
Cheers.
So
all right, Dan. We've got to get to the guest. We can't make them sit in the green room forever.
Yeah, it's been too long. So today we have an actor, a producer, a writer, a poet, an educator. She's starred with us in short films. He Drove, Avocado, Street Legal. She's co-starring with you currently in Last Night at Terrace Lanes. She's our friend. We've known her for a couple decades now. Towanda Underdue.
Hey, Towanda.
Hey guys, how are you?
We're doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
You look wonderful. I'll tell you that. I love the background you got there. It's freaking says, "Look at me, classic." Boom. So unlike me, I got like cowboy pictures of myself behind me. So, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. You like to look at yourself. You do. Yes.
All the time. I sit in front of a mirror all day long. That's all I do. Look at
Favorite
myself in the
TV
mirror.
show?
Favorite TV show is me looking at myself in the mirror.
Yeah, you carry yourself in your pocket. You're like, yeah, that's me. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressive. Yes.
Yes, that's what I do. But Towanda, thank you so much for coming on. We're gonna jump into a lot of topics today, and of course, the first thing we're gonna talk about is how in the hell did we meet? I can't remember.
I've been trying to figure that out. Maybe it was traumatic, and I just wanted to get it out of my mind. I need to go to a therapist and just lay back and say, where did I meet him? I don't know.
I know, but I was watching Avocado the other day. I
Yeah.
came across it and I watched it and I was like, oh yeah, Tawanda's in that, and we shot that years ago. And then I came across He Drove, and I'm like, well, which came first? Dan told me that Avocado was before He Drove.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and then we did Street Legal as well. But I know I met you before that on a set. We did something somewhere together, but I can't remember a pinpoint.
We
exactly.
we did some stuff together, but I do know that we did do that like promo trailer for War of the Worlds that Steven Spielberg directed. We did that together. And I believe
Yes.
we auditioned together, but we didn't actually know each other. Isn't that crazy? Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. We were out in our pajamas in the middle of the street all night.
in the middle of the street, he bought the whole neighborhood and we filmed all night thinking that they were coming to get us from outer space. And then they did their creative editing.
I wonder if that's available anywhere, because I remember seeing it when it happened. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, when I remember seeing it, but I don't know if that's available. I'm gonna have to do a search. So
Why did they shoot that here? Because he was here doing Minority Report at that same time. Is that why it was here?
I think that might have been the case. Yeah, Dan, I think you might be right. Yeah.
But I do remember that when we auditioned, they didn't let us know what the real project was.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like Look Into the Light Productions or something. It was like something crazy, right? And then you were like, we get booked and it's like, oh my goodness, this is Steven Spielberg. Wait a minute, War of the Worlds. So it was a fun time though. Yeah.
Man,
I just rewatched that recently, right around Halloween. It was on, and I checked it out. It's pretty good. I like it.
It's not a bad film. It is a good film. So, Towanda, did you do any work on Minority Report when that was in town?
No, I didn't do any on Minority Report. I don't remember that. No.
Yeah, I did extra
Seemed like
work
I
on.
worked. Did you?
Yeah.
I worked on so much stuff. People have to remind me. There are people who tell me, remember you did this and you did. I was like, how do you know? I was there. Oh, okay. I need to carry you with me. It's kind of like once you book something, you're like, okay, I'm going to get that check. Let's move on to the next thing. It's, you realize over the years, you're like, wow, I have done quite a bit.
Here's the one thing that I love. Anytime that I know I'm going to be on a set and I check the call sheet, or I show up and I see that you're there, I know it's going to be a fantastic, fun day on set, because we always have a blast together. Every time, it hasn't failed yet. Every time I see your name on the call sheet, or I show up and you're there in wardrobe or getting your makeup, I'm just like, this is going to be one of the best days on set ever. I just got to tell you, I love it.
That was a great thing on for me on Veep. The scene where we shot the sneeze.
Yes, I was there.
I didn't know until that day. I walked in the room. There's Towanda. She's part of that whole senatorial staff that was in that scene.
I was like, I'm there dancing. It seems like we're like the universe is bringing us to each other, because I had no idea. I'm like, oh my God, my buddy's doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. When I see people on the set, I mean, but longevity, this is a thing. People say, oh, well, hit or miss. We've been doing this a while, people.
Mm-hmm.
And
we met in an acting class in 2003. So we've been at it for 21 years. We've known each other. So
yeah, we were just 16 when we met.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say no, but okay.
No, I was 16, and yeah.
Well, 16 was on our age range on our resumes, right? 16 to 20. Like,
Exactly.
back then, we were still getting cast as college students and things like
Oh,
that.
that part. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Oh my goodness. Well, I loved it, and we met a lot of people that we're still friends with now from that
Yeah,
class, and people have had a great impact on us. So we carry all of them with us.
definitely.
Yes.
So, Terrace Lanes, you guys are both. This thing is it when it came out, it shot up the charts. It was in the top 20 on iTunes. It's a blast of a movie. We've talked about it with Jamie. We've talked about it with Francesca. I loved your performance in this, Towanda. I thought it was really nice, really kind of grounded and simple, right up until the point where you're just blowing people away with a shotgun. I loved that. You were badass. You
My goodness. It was such an adventure for me. It was a chance for me to show the dramatic and the horror and, all of that comedic side of it. Because I'm a lot of people know me for the comedic side, or either you know me for the dramatic side. But I got a chance to do both of them. But I had never, I mean, can I say I had never used a rifle before? Can I say that? Or
You can, but it wasn't a rifle you were using. It was a shotgun.
it was a shotgun. See, this is
Yes.
what I'm saying. So thank you.
You're welcome. I was
I'm a
there.
lover, not a fighter, but I will play one if you pay me.
Yes. I remember. I was there for that scene. I remember.
Of course you were. Of course you were. So then I had to get all these lessons on how to properly use a shotgun. And I felt it the next day, like as if I was really doing it, all the back. So, and then all of it was horrible. It was horrible in
You
a
did a
good way.
fantastic job, though. You did an amazing job, and in the final product, it looks fantastic. So you did
yeah.
a
No, I
fantastic job.
did a good job, but it was a horror. I was trying to do a spin on words or whatever, but I guess that I should leave it to you guys to do that.
So here's the thing, Tawanda, because I know in real life you do not curse. What was it like to use those words?
Oh my goodness! I think we did a few takes, and I don't think people realized I didn't curse. But I think after they said cut and they would reframe or something, I would just start giggling like, "Who is this person?" And then I'd look at you, and then you like make a face or something. I'm like, I gotta keep it together. I gotta curse. I've gotta just say I've said everything that I like. Guess it was built up in me, and it was believable. It was something.
I think you were channeling your inner Sam Jackson, to be honest,
Is that
because
right?
yes, because that's what it seems like. You were like bleep 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 bleep, this bleeping bleeping. I was like,
All
yes.
these snakes off this plane. But I was glad in my mind. I was like, okay, Tawanda, you're not you. You're this character, and you got to commit to it because you can't look like a fool saying these words on that big screen. And it was very convincing. I've had even some guys were like, "Man, you did it. You're really. I remember you. You're the chick with the rifle, whatever." I'm like, "Oh, not rifle, shotgun."
There you go.
That's what. You have to get the lingo together, you all. I'm learning.
Here's
But
the movie itself. Last night is fantastic. I'm a little biased. I'm in it, right? So I think the
yes,
movie's fantastic. But
it
here was the
is.
one thing that my wife and I, when we were driving home from the premiere, we were like, man, we could have used more Tawanda.
Yep.
We really were just like, wow, that was the one spot where, we were just a little short, man. We could have used a couple more scenes of you, like, trying to sneak through how funny would that have been? You trying to sneak and then you come across a couple of the cultists and you had to, like, outwit them or fight them. That
Oh,
would have
I
been
can see it.
fantastic.
I would have added so much.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
know.
it's like the story of my life. Everyone wants more Tawanda,
I
you
know it.
know?
I know it. But
Yes.
that's the one thing though on films like these, when you're moving so fast and you only have so much time to do it, and the budget is so low, it's kind of tough sometimes to really pad that stuff out. And I think that was the one thing that they kind of missed in this one was more you, because you're fantastic.
I am fantastic. Thank you for acknowledging that. I want to thank the Academy. But
I
no,
love it.
but I mean, it would have been, and I mean, even the scenes that I was in, I mean, of course, we had a short timeline, we were really cranking it out, and some of that was almost going to get cut. But I was like, no, 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 no. And it had nothing to do with me, but we had time constraints.
Right.
But I'm happy. I'm always happy that I didn't end up on the cutting room floor. Because that's happened to me. Have you ever been in something, be like, I did it, and I'm right,
Yeah.
and oh,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep.
yeah,
I've had that happen many times.
exactly. And you're like, dang. And it doesn't. And the thing is, the editor most of the time is not there. They're somewhere else. So all that 55 hours of footage they have to narrow down to, an hour and a half or whatever. They're like, oh, they didn't realize that you
They
were
weren't
the one that
invested in
did.
you because they're
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Yeah. Because if they would have been there, they'd be like, we can't go to Towanda.
Hey,
Shit.
Exactly. I'm like, we need to like send drinks or something to the editors. That's like the new thing now.
We do.
Hey,
We do.
a little shot. Remember me? That's the one you need to keep in there.
I'm
But
gonna
the
tell you,
film
money's
is,
better. Send editors
oh,
money.
money. Is it?
Yes.
Is there a set amount that
Yeah,
we
because I
need to
edit
send them?
sometimes, and yeah, I like money.
Oh, you like money?
Hell yeah.
Oh, we'll have to talk about the amounts. I hope my pockets are deep enough. So yeah,
All right.
get you to edit.
So here's the
Yeah.
deal.
Yes.
Speaking of the cutting room floor,
Yes.
we happen to have one of the scenes that didn't hit the cutting room floor, and we're going to take a look at it right now. And when we come back from that, we're going to talk about it a little bit. All right?
Okay.
Sound good? All right, here we go. To the clip.
To the clip.
I saw Kennedy out there. Thought she wasn't coming.
She wasn't. I think she's on a date. She's pretending like she doesn't know me. I guess I'm an embarrassment or something.
Imagine that. It's a 17-year-old girl's job to be embarrassed of her dad.
She knew I wanted her here tonight. This place, it's important to me. It was important to her once. We were a team. The Lucky Strikers.
She was 10. Damn it, Bruce. She's here tonight on the lanes. Or she was until you tried to kill her buddy. And don't you lecture me about how important this place is. Albert and I built it. And it's gone through a lot of changes over the years. Even after we tore out the old wall carpet, the people are the same. It's a community. You and Kennedy, the trophies you won, all part of it. But don't think you and the kid are the whole thing. And don't think those bowling shirts are what define your relationship with that girl. When we wake up tomorrow, this place, this little piece of Albert will be gone. But you'll still have her.
Cheryl,
Look, I'll walk your beat. You stay here, cool off. Get your shit together. It's good that she's here.
Oh,
Get your
Fantastic.
shit together.
that's right. Hear that. Get it together, Ken Arnold.
I said it the other night a couple weeks ago at the premiere with you. I just think that is such a lovely scene from you, Towanda. It's so simple. Like everybody
Yes.
tries to do so much and make it so big, and you just found this nice, quiet, small little place to live in, and it just really, I thought it was beautiful. So
I was drawn in by myself. I was like, oh, this is nice. Okay. Do you look at yourself at like in the third person or something like that? You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm like, yeah, that was good. Yeah.
I
It's-
got to tell you,
intimate. Go ahead.
in a scene with you, Towanda, you made my job easy. You really did. And I mean, just the way you made it that intimate in that scene with just you and I in there, and I could feel the emotion. And that's the good thing between you and I. We have that chemistry. We can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can do that in a scene together. So that was fantastic. And the way that you just gave me what I needed to be in the space that I was in was fantastic. And I thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. And I think the crew appreciated it because I want to say that even the first take that I did, they were like, oh, this is like one take Towanda here.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, we had to do different ones. But it's just like, that's part of what we do. Dan talking about classes, breaking down the script and scoring it and getting your beats and all of that and thinking about past, present, future, all of that into that. What makes the scene is not just the words. It's what you bring to it. It's the history, the characters building it. Yeah.
Do you remember what you were worried about that night? I remember.
Oh, my voice?
Yes, you were worried about your voice. You were panicking about your voice. And I you came up to me and said, Ken, my voice. I'm like, Towanda, you're going to be great. Use it. Use that.
I had laryngitis for the whole shoot.
Oh, wow.
Literally the whole shoot. So I really couldn't speak. And like on the side, people don't know, like I had like cough drops and tea and all kinds of stuff, water. And like I was sipping and not talking until I had to talk. And then it kind of worked with the character. But that's another thing. People kind of get in their head like we can, even though doing this a while, like, oh my goodness, it's not perfect. But that imperfection brought something to the character.
It added another layer that was fantastic. It really did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now I have to try to recreate her. I'll try to recreate.
It's like in Friends when Phoebe's sick and she has her singing voice is sexy. She's just like, oh, it's my sexy voice. And then she gets better and she's like, oh, how do I get it back?
Exactly. Wow. But that was an amazing shoot.
That was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun on that shoot, especially when we did the shotgun scene. It was a lot of fun for me to sit there and watch you do that, because I was on set the whole time because I was like, I gotta watch Towanda do this. It was fantastic to watch you shoot the gun. It was great.
I was so focused because I'm like, okay, this is my first time doing something like this. Of course, I've done scenes where people put the gun on me, you know what I mean? But me shooting the actual shotgun, that was not a thing. So I'm like getting it right. And it was almost like a choreography when you do it, the way it's set up. And even like part of it, my demise or whatever, they cut part of it, but that was fun too, the way they got me. But it was a lot of fun. It really was. It was just phenomenal. The director, of course, Jamie, did a phenomenal job. DP, all the people, everybody in the cast, they did a great job. And I hope everyone's entertained. I'm still having people come up to me talking about it. Like, that was such a great movie. Yeah.
How great is it to have opportunities like this right here where we live, as opposed to having to jump up the turnpike or something like that?
Yes.
Down to Atlanta.
Oh my goodness, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's such just like a swell of like filmmaking happening in this area in Frederick in particular, because you know how it is driving up to New York and going up and down the coast or wherever we need to go cross country, and to have such quality productions here, and they're more plentiful. It used to not be this way, and it's just like, and then over time we all kind of become like a family because we know certain people who we can trust and put out the work. So it's great. It's great that I can actually get home at a decent hour sometimes.
I mean, you talk about being a family. I mean, we've done things together for years now. We did Avocado together. We did He Drove. We did Street Legal. And Street Legal, to me, is always going to be the role that, and I don't want to say titular role that I know you for, Towanda. But here's what I'm going to say about that. I will always remember you as Skittles the hooker. just for that role alone.
You know what? Okay, he's gonna know me as Skittles the people. I played a hooker on screen, not in real life.
Yes,
just remember.
So you guys shot that on the block in Baltimore, right?
Right in front of right in front of the Penthouse Club.
But what was crazy about it was of course, that was the one they kind of gave me, gave me leeway to create the character to bring her to life. Of course, she was on page, but I'm like, what should she look like, whatever. So I created the whole thing. So I don't think no one saw me until that day, right? So I had ordered my costume from overseas or whatever, and I had put this whole thing together, envisioned it, and I was so convincing. I don't know anybody remembers this. I didn't want to leave my house dressed that way because my neighbors would be like, what in the world? So like I had this coat on. So I was in the car. We were right around the corner and they were doing construction across the street. So I'm pulling stuff off. And I think you or somebody were in the car with me. And the construction guys were just staring at me like, oh my God, right? I'm like, oh my, because I'm taking off stuff, right? I'm like, oh God. So then when we were doing the scene on the block, a real car came up to pick me up with dark windows. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Somebody really came, and I'm like, the cameras were there. And then the police showed up thinking that I was a real hooker.
Method, baby.
I'll tell you what, you were convincing, right? Hey.
I was very convincing. I was like, oh my goodness. And then the only way the police were convinced because all the cameras and things were around. But literally they thought I was just walking the block, and that the car drove up with the dark windows to like pick me up. I was just like, oh my goodness.
And for our five of listeners who don't know Baltimore, the block is a stretch of adult nightclubs along one street here in Baltimore, about 2 blocks from the Inner Harbor. So, and it's a shady place.
And we were directly in front of the Penthouse Club, like
yes,
right outside the front door. Yes, we were, and it was hysterical. Even the kid that you were acting with was embarrassed. He was like, am I going to go to jail right now?
Exactly. I mean, it got kind of sketchy. I'm like, you guys better save me before they take me to jail. Oh my gosh.
When we do these like independent guerrilla things, it's like, there's no like safety net here. The police might actually arrest us.
Yeah, they might. So I also want you to talk about the thing that you brought to the character that you happen to have hidden somewhere. What was that all about?
The character's name was Skittles. I thought I'd add something. I actually had Skittles down in my bustier, and I was offering them to people.
Which was hilarious. I thought that was great when I saw that. We were watching the camera, and you did that? Skittle? Oh, my God. We started laughing so hard. We were like, yep, that's going in the final cut. You can still catch Street Legal on my YouTube channel. So I still have it out there. It's still available so people can watch it. So if you're listening to this podcast, do Ken Arnold Street Legal. You can do a Google search and it'll pop up, and people can see Skittles and me as I can't remember the damn character's name I played, but
Kenny
but
Street,
I was
right?
I was your assistant, I think. What was his name?
Kenny Street.
Yeah.
Kenny Street.
There's a playoff of his
I was
last
your
name.
assistant, right?
Yep. So,
now, did Jamie write that or direct that?
He directed it.
Okay.
It was Jamie and I wrote it together, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a full circle back to last night's
so
Terrace Lanes.
that's where, because I was trying to figure out where I met Jamie. I knew I worked with him a long time ago. It was on Street Legal then.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. And it's funny, that thing has lived on. I've actually gone to a casting office, and someone was in there and they were like, aren't you Skittles? I was like, how do you know? I'm not even joking. Like, for like a film. I'm like, yes, yeah, I saw that. I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna live this down.
It's nice. So last week we had Jimmy Bellinger on the show, who was the Skittles Pox kid. The kid with the Skittles all over his face, and now we've got Skittles the hooker.
The hooker.
So
I mean, you can't ask for anything better. It was like
I don't know if we've run out of Skittles content here on the podcast.
I don't know. I think we can find something. Just give me
Taste the rainbow.
Because remember what my character's name was in A Comedy of Horrors?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Remember? Sheriff Skittles.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe we have to, do some Comedy of Horror stuff and maybe bring in the Deputy Dimples character and talk to him about Sheriff Skittles.
We don't want to do that.
No, we don't want to do that. That guy's terrible, that Dan DeLuca character. Nobody likes that guy. Nobody likes him.
He's banished from the Appletinis.
He's banished. So, Towanda, I mean, you have been so busy the last year. I know, the last year has been, for actors, has been a tough year for all of us because of the stuff. But you have been in the center of it all. You were on the committee. The strike committee, and if you could you just please give us a little bit of that background and tell us a little bit about that, and then I think Dan and I might have a couple questions for you about it.
Okay, yes. I was proudly representing the Washington Mid-Atlantic on the TV Theatrical Negotiating Committee. That's the committee that was negotiating with the CEOs and the heads of the studios to bring good contracts to us performers, actors and performers. That when I was called to do it, I was nominated for the position. It's because I've worked the contracts. You can't be on the committee unless you've worked several of the different contracts so that you can actually negotiate and know what is good, what is bad, and all of that. And they kind of pitched it to me like, okay, you've been such an activist, and I serve on many local and national committees already. And my thing is, it's not about a title. It's about making it better for my fellow performers. Yeah. So making it better for us so that we can make a living wage and, keep it going. And when I got on it, they were like, oh, it's going to be okay. I had no idea that we were going to end up on strike and what we had to go through. But it was I think I was in LA 5 or 6 months back and forth, we had our hands full. I mean, the contracts, there were over 270 proposals that came from the local members of things that they wanted changed in the contracts and whatnot. And we had to kind of narrow it down to about 40 or so, which is a lot still, and present them to the studios. I think I have like a quasi law degree, statistician, all this kind of stuff. I mean, numbers and stuff. I mean, we had every kind of expert, like in layman's term, explain it to us and in technical terms. So I pretty much know everything that's going on. And the thing that's hard is trying to communicate that to just the average member, because some of the stuff you just can't explain it in 5 minutes, you know what I mean? But they have to trust that we're representing, like I said, Maryland, DC, Virginia, West Virginia, North Carolina, and all those that are in the what we call the mids and smalls outside of LA and New York, the middle-sized locals and smalls. And there were only a few of us on the committee, like a very few. Yeah.
Did you feel like they would listen to the mids and smalls? The New York and LA branches?
Well, that's the thing. Our mid-sized vice president was the one who nominated me. Mm-hmm. It was so weird because they had, I think, 3 slots on the committee over the years. And she said they needed more representation. And she asked our president, Fran Drescher, like, we need to add a seat on there. I guess I can tell the story. She said that she was actually on the red carpet of the SAG Awards. She asked Fran, like, can we have this extra seat on there? So if anybody knows, I guess people didn't really know Fran at that point in this capacity, but she's very to the point and, blunt. So she literally just looked at her and said, well, who do you want? And she did not expect her to, on the spot of the red carpet, like, want to know a name for... She thought this was going to be a future meeting. So out of all of over 160, 70,000 people that are in SAG-AFTRA, she said the name that popped up was mine in her head. I was like, wow. So I was like, yay, I'm doing something right. So she's texting me like, can I talk to you? Yeah, okay, just call me. And she gave me the pitch and I'm like, okay. I can do this, because it was, a lot of time commitment. It was going to be like 3 to 4 weeks at first, and then turned into months.
Yes.
But it was well worth it. Of course, when I got there, a lot of the people that are big names, stars, that if you just said their name, you know exactly who they are. They were in the room, and people who are, regulars on series like for years and years. So when I get in there, they're like, well, who is this chick? But I'm like, I deserve to be here just like everybody else, because it just wasn't handed to me. It was, I mean, they are meticulous about looking at your background and everything else before you get on there. They look at your credits and what you've done and what you've made. I mean, they don't play around. I'm like, okay, I have to prove to you that I need to be here. At the beginning, it turned into a lot of dinners between us where people be like, oh, we're going to dinner, having fun. They go, yeah, so I worked on this project and I made this amount of money. What have you done? And what money did you make? And, yes, my child made in one day all of their college education. Oh, have you done that? And I'm going, this is a dinner. This is the kind of stuff. And you go, oh, really, people? Really? But like I said, I will say I'm a force to be reckoned with. I'm the nicest person in the world, but I don't BS anybody. And if you're doing that, I just will say this is it. This is the thing that you're doing, and you need to stop that. And the higher ups, president, national executive director, they're like, yeah, Towanda, yeah, you put them in their place. And they told me like they appreciated, and Fran, without doing a bad Fran impersonation, which she kind of likes some of that. She's like, oh, that was a good one. That wasn't so good. She's like, Towanda, you're very valuable with the things that you're saying. I'm like, oh, thank you, Fran. All right, thank you. She loves me. So,
Fran and I have in common?
What?
We went to the same college.
Did you?
Yes, she went to Wagner College in Staten Island, New York. That's where I went. So
Oh
she was
my
obviously she's a little bit older than me. So I know I look like I'm 70, but I'm not with this beard. But
Okay.
yeah, she's a couple years older than me. She graduated before I got there, but Wagner College has a great theater department, and she was part of that. And obviously, she took what she learned there and she took it to LA and did her thing, which was
She's very smart person. She knows who she is and how she's perceived, and she uses it to her advantage.
Nice.
Whether it's people talking about the voice or the nanny thing, all of that. I mean, being around someone this long, and a lot of the people in the committee now, I will say we're all like kind of a family now, even though, some you don't totally get along with all of your family. You're like, okay, you stay over there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
We know everybody's quirks in the background. We know everybody's backstory, their childhood traumas, everything. Being around somebody, it was like being on jury duty, like sequestered in a room, and we couldn't leave because then the press would surround the building, so you couldn't talk outside of anything.
Right.
So we were together all the time
for 7
for
months.
hours, all those months, and sometimes it'd be 12, 16 hours a day. Sometimes it's just like, yeah, we knew a lot about each other. I mean, people laughed, cried, yelled, screamed, whatever, and we keep it all in there. It would be a phenomenal movie. It really would. But we're sworn to secrecy, and I'm on the standing committee of the negotiation. So all of the things that we put in place, all those record gains, over $1 billion in the contract there over the next like 2.5 years, and then we're going to build on that. We got to make sure that everything's executed so that everybody follows through with what they promise. So, but I'm just happy for all of us. And it was challenging, but it's very rewarding. That experience, you can never take that away. Yeah.
I thought it was, watching the initial press conference and several after the fact, but just watching that initial press conference and there you were, like, it was Fran and you were right next to her, and it was like, that's us. She's representing us over here in the DMV, and so it was really cool to see you right up front and center and feel like our little region and nook of this union had a voice at the table.
Trust me, you all were well represented. I'll have to say that myself, stop being modest. Even with that, though, I would fly back, and I think there was an industry event that we had here, I think Ken was there.
I
And
was there.
remember, I'm right there. I was like, what is it that you all want? I was going around the room checking in with the constituents, because sometimes you can be closed in that room and you're like, am I really hearing what I'm hearing? Am I doing the right thing? But I made sure I came back and say, look, what is it that we all need? Make sure this is what I'm doing, the part that I could say, and what is it that you all need? And I'm going to take that right back into the room. And I did that. Yeah.
Nice.
That's fantastic. I mean, you did such a wonderful job, and I kept sending you messages going, keep up the good work, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job. And when I saw you, I think I told you that there at that event. But being in the room with those studio executives, what was that like? Because I know if it was me, I'd like to throw them in a headlock and start giving them noogies. What was it like being in a room with those guys?
Yeah. Yeah, what can I say about that? It was it was interesting. I'm going to try to not say too much, but
Right. Don't get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, I'm not going to get myself in trouble, but there was not only at the end, the CEOs were coming to meet with us, which was unprecedented. They didn't do that with any other union. But before then, we were meeting with the AMPTP, which is the Alliance of Motion Picture, like the producers and all of that. And their representative, Cheryl Lombardini, I think you heard, she had her own like fake Twitter account or whatever, and they would put out all these sayings about her. She was interesting. I remember one day we had on our shirts that said SAG-AFTRA strong, and we walked in there, and of course we keeping our poker faces or whatever. We're just like in solidarity kind of a thing. And she goes, "Oh, is this free t-shirt giveaway day?" And it's like, that's how you start the negotiation. Yeah.
And then you go, yes. And then you take yours off right there and give it to her. That's what you should have done. I would have done that. I'd have been like, yeah, here, lady. You can have mine.
No, well, I guess our national executive director, like I said, I'm trying to filter myself. He looked at her and said, "Oh, why? Do you want one? We can get you one." That's what he did say to her, right? She just kind of blinked.
But I would have taken mine off right then and there. She would have been like, she wouldn't have known what to do. She would have panicked and been like, oh. That would have been hysterical. Just saying.
She's interesting. Like I said, the CEOs they're businessmen. I'll say that. It's all about the numbers.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for respect in the way that maybe just we one-on-one would want it, that's not what they call respect. They show their respect by putting the dollars on the table. And trust me, you have to kind of fight for that. So yeah, it was very interesting. I will say, when I see press things on TV with them and everybody's like, la, 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 and I'm like, oh gosh, I really know who you are. So I was just like, okay, turn the channel. Let me stop.
All the words that she doesn't say, she wants to say them to them on the TV.
Oh my goodness. I see why people say them. Yes. It was interesting. I mean, we really had to fight. I mean, at the beginning they said they weren't giving us anything, and there's no way that we were they called us uncivilized to our face. You're unreasonable, unrealistic. You don't know what you're talking about. And they just didn't understand what it meant to be like a regular everyday working actor and the challenges that we face. And we're just trying to make a living wage. And when it was in the press that they've made, $70,000 a day or something like that, they broke down the salary, and one of them did. And some of our performers don't even make $26,000 a year to make their health insurance. I mean, come on now, you got to kind of give something. But one of them came back and said, "Why are you all saying that about me in the press?" And I'm just kind of giving you approximate numbers, so don't hold me on this, but it's around, I only make like $16,000 a day. And that was their comeback. It's like,
that's the disconnect, Towanda, right there, right? There it is. They're living in a world where they have no concept of, what a working actor goes through. They're up in their white ivory towers, and they're sitting down looking on the peasants, right?
Yeah.
And they just don't get it. And that's the problem. And that's the problem not only in our industry, but in any industry.
Yeah.
Right? So, but that needs to change, and hopefully, what you did, and all the work that you put in, and the committee put in, that these things will start to change, and these people will realize, without us, you don't have your white ivory tower. I'm
Exactly.
sorry, you just don't have it.
How are you going to have an entertainment industry without entertainment? Like,
Yeah.
I just don't get it. We
Doesn't make
did
sense.
some things that hadn't been done in the past. We made presentations. We actually would do PowerPoints, pictures. I actually spoke on different topics and showed some of the things that I'd gone through on set, and they literally like gasp, and they usually don't. And they're like, oh, like, because you would say this is a problem. They go, oh, no, it's not. You all are just making it up. And then we would have live examples, have testimonies and different things, which they hadn't done in the past, my understanding. And it really brought to life what goes on in an everyday working actor's life. And even though they tried to pretend like, oh no, that's just an isolated incident after the fact, because they didn't want to give the money. And the thing is, this is another dynamic people don't realize. They're all in the same room together, but guess what? They're each other's competition. So they don't want to tell us how much money they're making because they don't want the other person to know. That's another part of it. And you're like, oh, so you're battling all of this. So finally they thought we were bluffing. They're like, oh, those actors, they're dumb, whatever. And like, no, we were serious, and it got down to that. And of course, with any negotiation, there's things that happen behind the scenes that, happen at the last minute to just pull it through. But thankful for anything that would help us. And as long as it helps and it doesn't hurt anybody, there you go.
Yeah, Tawanda's over there with a PowerPoint saying, "Yeah, I was on set this one time, and I'm getting catcalled by construction workers on the block, and arrested by Baltimore Police Department. That's unacceptable."
And they'll say, "No, that never happened. You weren't there. It did happen.
It did happen. I was there. You should have called me in. I would have came in and testified. I'd be like, "Yep, put my hand on the Bible. Yes, I swear to God, it was true."
It's true, and it was my set.
Exactly. How do you know this, sir? I was standing right there when it happened.
It feels like this year was just, for us and the writers, the AI piece was just such a huge part of it. And it feels like you guys at least got an anchor, like a foundation that we can build off of that's going to keep us from getting kind of hosed by this technology. Like, it's great as long as everybody's in agreement on how it's used, because if it makes life easier for editors and people like that, but as long as people are getting paid for, and it's not just you work one time and then they've got you for perpetuity like that. I'm really glad that piece was, that you guys drew the line right there.
No, that was the thing. If we didn't come to an agreement on AI, we were going to continue the strike. We weren't going to, take the deal, because they were abusing it.
Mm-hmm.
We were the first ones to really get some like parameters around the AI, and they were fighting tooth and nail. They didn't want to give it to us because they were wanting to pay, say, even just background had, like, you pay them half day's pay and then use their images in perpetuity on any project forever, and you don't get any compensation. Like, what is that? So we need to, so what we have in place is you have to get consent and compensation. So they need to let you know what they're doing and how they're using it and compensating you. So now what we have on the books is, even if they scan you and they're using you in that scene, your AI as opposed to you, guess what? You're getting paid. If your AI is working, so that's good. And then if they decide to use it in another way in the future that you didn't originally agree to, they have to come back to you and get consent.
Right.
And you can negotiate your compensation. So that's phenomenal. And there were people scared, like, we're going to lose work. But the thing is, they were using your images online. And people don't know, when you put your image on social media, they use that to feed their AI computers and the generative AI and all of that. So it's good that we get this. And they weren't even going to give in perpetuity. Like, if you passed away, they would use your image in different things, and even your estate wouldn't get anything. I'm like, that is not fair at all. So where we have some things in place, like I said, and even some of the things we have in our contract, the federal government, the Congress is using it, trying to build legislation to even, take it from there, to put more things on the books too, because our contract is just for SAG-AFTRA. It's anything outside of that, they can still use AI in different ways. But the federal government wants to put some things in place so that there is some, higher authority saying, no, you can't take advantage of people in that way. So with the No Fakes Act, I believe, and there's another one that's they're trying to protect us. Just talking about in the news with Taylor Swift, talking about that coming up with the Super Bowl. They had a thing with her that they had images of her that weren't her, and
saw that
naked or whatever.
Saw that. So let's get into that.
That's a hell of a segue right there.
It was. Thank you, Towanda. Perfect segue. Talking about the Super Bowl. So this weekend, by the time this airs, the Super Bowl will be over. But this weekend coming up, you got the Super Bowl, Kansas City Chiefs versus the 49ers, San Francisco 49ers. And you recently had, within the last year, I believe, you had an opportunity to work on a commercial with the Kelce brothers, Jason and Travis.
And their mom, Donna.
Yes.
Yes,
and Donna, how was that? Talk about that.
Oh, it was fun. It's Campbell's soup commercial. I think it's Campbell's Chunky Soup. It's still airing now. People have been saying, "Is that you in that commercial?" Yeah, that's so. It was so fun. That's another one when you audition, they don't tell you who's really in it. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, this is my principal part in this thing. And I get there, and this is how I know. When I go into wardrobe, their jerseys are hanging there. Like, it's like, oh my goodness. It's not a secret anymore. So when we get to set, their mom was there and they were there. I mean, they were lovely. Both of them were lovely. And tell me, Travis is the youngest one, right?
Yes, Travis is the younger one. Jason is the Philadelphia Eagle, by the way. Who's the better one? Just saying.
Because that's your favorite team.
That is my favorite team. So, yes. And he's phenomenal. I love Jason Kelce.
Yeah, Jason. So Travis obviously looks up to Jason. I mean, that's like his big brother. You can just see it. And I mean, they make fun of each other like brothers do all of the time, right? But you can tell there's so much respect amongst them, And their mom, she was talking to me, and I was like, well, and of course, Towanda, I can't help but ask questions. She is so down to earth, you guys, like down to earth. She's not extra at all. She's just mom. And I realized, she said, well, I guess I'm not giving anything away. She lives in Florida. And of course, one lives in Kansas City, one's in Philadelphia. So she never sees them. And they're always traveling. So the way she gets to see them is by going to the games. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I said, well, what were they like growing up or whatever? She's telling me, she said, yeah. She said they were both getting into trouble. She said Jason was the one, you could hear him through the house. He was always banging and breaking stuff. You knew where he was getting into trouble. She said, but Travis, he was the quiet one. He was the quiet one getting into trouble. He'd do something and you had to find, it's bro. I said, you know what? That sounds like their personalities right now. They were like that as kids. One's ripping his shirt off, and the other one's like kind of trying to stay low key. So she was just like, these are my boys. Oh my goodness. We had a good time talking, and they were very nice to me and just chill. And we were all conversing because it was a very small set, of course, and people didn't know what was going on. It was a very secluded area, neighborhood, or whatever we were in. But it was fun.
Where did they shoot that?
They actually, they shot it in Pennsylvania, actually.
Yeah, okay.
It was like the country or something. It was like a secluded area. I think it was like one of the, I can say that. I'm always like, what should I say? I think it was like one of the producers' homes or something like that. Okay. Like there were like trailers. It's somewhere that you would not know that anything was going on. And even the neighbors didn't know. They were like, why are all these trailers around here? And they were like out walking their dogs and everything. And like, there's something. And they were very, secretive about where they were transporting them at what time. So nobody knew. Nobody saw them at all, but we knew. And they were doing press in their trailers or whatever, and then come out and then we would do that, the commercial. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
They were talking about the commercials on their podcast, and because for the most part, they shoot all the commercials before the season, so that when they're in season, they're just football practice, games. They're not going to sets and all this distraction. So, and they're saying you don't realize, you shoot 2-3 commercials, back in June, May, and then you don't realize during the season how many times those things are going to air. He's like, I'm tired of me. Like, I'm airing 3 times in every commercial break. I'm sick of it.
That's funny that you said that, because we did film that around Mother's Day. And I was telling their mom, I was like, you get a Mother's Day like present, like you'll have them with you or whatever. And I was like, and it's being taped, so you'll be able to look at this and be like, oh, that was the great Mother's Day. She's like, oh, it is. And
you know, national commercial paycheck. Happy Mother's Day.
Exactly. Isn't that something? She gets this paycheck. I like the residuals. I was like, yeah, it's still airing. I don't think I've seen it. Other people have seen it, but I like the residuals when they come. That works. Yeah.
2 questions.
Yeah.
Number 1, do you know if it's going to run during the Super Bowl?
I don't, but it may run, because when they told me, they said it's going to run fall into winter. Okay. And I went, and they wouldn't tell me. And I went, me being a football person, I'm like, this sounds like this is a Super Bowl commercial. Like, could be. And the thing is, though, I'm kind of sad though that the one brother's going to retire, because I'm like, dang, why don't you stay in there a little longer?
That's not, I'd follow Philadelphia sports quite a bit. That's not true. He may not.
I heard that, and then I heard he said, no, it's not set in stone. Yep. But people keep trying to convince me, because I want my commercial to air longer. Stay in there.
Yes. So he may not. So you may get that opportunity for your commercial to air longer. And number 2 question is, since you are like best buds with them now, could you happen to get them on our podcast? That'd be cool.
I'll see what I can do. That's hilarious. That would be.
Ken, lose my number. After this podcast is over, Ken, lose my number.
Okay. Yeah, there you have it. I'll see. I'll work on that, Ken. Yeah, there you go.
All right, so guys, we have been on, believe it or not, for an hour. Wow. We filled an hour of time with this wonderful podcast. We talked about last night at Terrace Lanes. We talked about the SAG-AFTRA strike, and we talked about this football commercial. And there's some other stuff sprinkled in there as well. But Towanda, I just want to thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Like I said, I told you this at the Terrace Lanes. It's been, we started our careers together, and so it's just great to see. Still at it, still working, and love it every time you pop up on my screen. So congratulations, and keep working.
Oh, thank you. It's always a pleasure. Anytime when I see you all, it's fun memories. You all are like family. We share a lot of memories together.
Well, just so you know, Towanda, it ain't over yet. None of it's over yet. We are going to be doing a lot more stuff together, and you know that as well as Dan. And we got projects coming down the road. You're always at the top of our list when we come up with roles, and so we'll be doing this again. So don't.
Oh, I look forward to it.
Yes,
it's on tape, people. I'll hold them to it.
She's in the union. She'll hold you to it, man.
She will, but she knows.
That's a verbal contract.
I'm small but mighty.
You are. And thank you for your hard work with the SAG-AFTRA strike. Yes. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And thank you all for what you do.
Well, thank you. And if you would, Towanda, could you throw it to that theme song that Jamie Nash has claimed that it's the best part of this podcast, the theme song?
And to sum it up, let's head over to the music that makes everybody tingle. Bye.
Appletinis with Ken. Appletinis with Ken. Oh yeah. Appletinis with Ken. Appletinis with Ken. Oh yeah. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Appletinis with Ken. Appletinis with Ken. Oh, yeah.